Okay, so now that we've done our reading for today, we're gonna put it to the test, and we're gonna do an activity. Our activity today is going to be interviews of the past. We just talked about a lot of different people and a lot of different situations during the American Revolution. Now, how many of you have ever watched a talk show? Oprah, Ellen, anything, Steve Harvey, anybody. So we've all seen talk shows. So you have two people usually during an interview. You have one person that's asking the questions, and then you'll have the other person, the interviewee, you would say, is the person that is answering the questions. Now, here's what's going to happen is when I say go, you're going to get with your elbow partners. And while you're with your elbow partners, I want you to come up with 5 interview questions to ask someone of the past that we talked about. Now, I've put up here some people that you can use, but if your person's not up here, feel free, of course, to use someone else. You can interview a colonel in the war, so maybe someone who is in charge over an army, or you could do Nathan Hale. Remember who is Nathan Hale? Who can tell me who Nathan Hale was? Peyton?
He's the teacher who volunteered to be a spy, and
Right. So he was a teacher who volunteered to be a spy and got hung. And so think about that, could be a really good interview, going from being a teacher in a classroom to spying on the British. So that could be good. And we have Benedict Arnold, our traitor. So that could be fun to do as well. Or an African-American soldier, someone who had to sneak off of their owner's land and buy their freedom by fighting in the war. Or any of the women that we talked about during the war. Martha Washington, Mary Ludwig Hayes. Who else did we talk about? Joseph? Deborah Sampson. Or I think there was one more. She was an African-American poet. Scholar? Phyllis Wheatley. You could talk about any of those. Or we read about how some of the soldiers, George Washington's Continental Army had to spend the winter at Valley Forge due to the British doing what? What had the British done that made them have to kind of lay low for a little bit? Me?
They captured Philadelphia.
Right. The British had captured Philadelphia, which means George Washington kind of had to be on the down low for a little bit to make sure that all passed over. So you can conduct an interview with any of those people. And so when we're done with this, I'm going to have some of you come up and you're going to conduct your interview in front of us. So make sure that you're asking good 5th grade questions. And who could give me an example of a good quality 5th grade question that we could ask during our interview? Mackenzie?
can I say just a person?
Yes, go right ahead.
So if you were Deborah Sampson,
Okay.
what made you make up your mind that you wanted to go fight in battle?
Very good. She said, what in your mind made you want to go fight in that battle? Now, that is an example of a very good quality 5th grade question. Who can give me another example? Chris, give me another example.
You could ask Benedict Arnold, why did you trade and when did you?
Why did you trade and when did you? What was it that made you want to betray your country? Because that's a big decision. And so, of course, not all these answers are in our book, so we just kind of have to maybe transform ourselves into their heads and think about how they would answer the question, okay? So, yes, Victoria?
On Mary Ludwig Hayes, you could ask her what made her want to change to the war empire.
Right, what made her decide that she was going to take the role of a man and fight in the war. Those are all great examples. So that's what you and your partner are going to be doing. So how many questions should you and your partner have? 5 questions. And how many answers would that mean then? 5 answers to go along with it. We're doing good quality 5th grade questions. And then after we're done, you will have, I'll ask some of you to come up here and you can conduct your interview in front of us. So I am going to put up a timer for 12 minutes at first. But if we need more than 12 minutes, you will be lucky to have, and I'll put the list back up in a second. So when I say go, you may get with your partner and you may start. You may use your book, use each other, anything. So you may begin.
Okay.
Fighting.
So what questions are y'all thinking about so far? What made you want to spy? How'd you get captured? Maybe ask him a question about his life before him. Remember, he was a teacher. So that's a big transition, don't you think? What did you teach? Okay. Joining the army. Or, you remember in our last chapter how we talked about some slaves leaving and they had to leave people behind? Maybe ask him about that. Did he leave anyone behind? A lot of them needs to get separated from their families, remember?
That's how come I sit right here to save my family.
Right, exactly. See, that's a good example of what he could have said or what he might have asked. So what do you have? Let's see. So you asked what made you change your gender, okay? Because I thought if I was a boy, I would be able to fight more. Well, why would she be able to fight more as a boy?
Because of that, like, the men in the war would not, if she was a boy, they would think she would be tougher and she could, like, fight more. But if she was a girl, they wouldn't let her interact in the war as much.
Right. Do you think that's changed now? Yes. Now we can go to war ourselves. Very good. I like that.